Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Aurogiri. So this video is going to be a little different than a lot of other videos we've done, or I've done I should say. And the reason for that is it's not essentially a guide on how to do anything, or it's, you know, not me fighting something or making something or trying to, you know, provide some kind of tip or trick or, you know, something that we usually do. This video is more centered on the why, and it's an awesome topic. And the topic we're considering is, why is Onigiri such an fun and addictive game? You know, it's been 2 years. This game's been out on PS4 on console for 2 years now. It's been out on PC even longer. You know, and there are people that still play to this day from that time. You know, a lot of us notice we don't play as many other games as we used to, you know. Now, for some people, this is their first MMO. For some, it's not their first rodeo. For me, it's my first MMO, and, you know, I do remember the days when I played a lot of other games, and there are some games that I played a lot over others. You know, why do we play certain games over others, you know? If the purpose of a game is to just have fun, and all games can give you fun, why do we play some over others? You know, that's an interesting topic as well. So, where do we really start with this video? So, why is the game fun? The game's fun because it is an awesome game, honest to God. You know, if it's an RPG, you start the game, you see all this fantastical stuff. There are monsters, you don't understand what's going on, you have this natural curiosity to be like, okay, I'm this character, I'm in this MMO, who am I, what do I do, what's my purpose, who are these characters, what's this mission? You know, it's a very story-driven game at the start. At the start of every MMO, there has to be a story, there has to be a core, there has to be, you know, some essence that pushes you. Because, you know, no one's going to play a generic game where it's like, okay, you can level from 1 to 3 billion, there's no story, every weapon looks the same, there are no outfits. Like, if you take away every little bit of character from a game, it won't work. And hello, Ren. Hello. So, that's, like, logically, if you look at it logically, it's like, okay, this is a game, I get my weapons, I kill stuff, I level up, get stronger. That must be the goal, right? Like, I must go from point A to B to B to C to C to D, you know, throughout the alphabet over and over and over to constantly get to, you know, the next level, and to beat the next level, I need the next weapon to beat the next level. And the progression goes on and on and on and on. That's the logic, like, aspect of it. And, like, that's what we do. But that's not enough. That's not enough to be fun, because that's just work. That's just, okay, I need to do this because I need to do this. You know. But then you have the other aspects of it. Yeah, point Y to Z. You know, you go from A to Z to A1 to Omega 7. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something to do. And that there is the fundamental of an MMO, is that there is always something to do. Always something to do. And we as people, we need something to do. And hello, Fizzy. You know, like, we need something to do. What we get bored when we have nothing to do, or the thing we have to do is too hard, or it's boring, it's annoying. You know, you have to stay invigorated. You need that invigorate, you know. So, if logically speaking, like, you break everything down to its base core of what we do in this game, we level up, we get the next gear, we go to the next level, and we progress. We progress. We must get stronger to progress, you know. So, you need that high mind. Exactly, yeah. Exactly, Joey. So then, you know, so that means at its core the game must be fun, because no one's going to play it if there's nothing fun, and the whole point is just, if I said, okay, we're going to play a game, and the game is, you need to get 1 billion experience. It's like, but what do I get? You don't get anything. You just get the experience. It's a game to get itself. Like, it doesn't work. Do you think Oni would make more money if it had packs instead of Nian? Like, packs of cards? Like, DLC packs? What do you mean? The Nian is a gold mine, yeah. Exactly. The end is a gamble, but if they had a 5-scroll Mia pack for 150 bucks, that's a good question. That's a good question. So if everyone could get what they want just for paying money, see, that is very related to our topic here, because the Nian in itself is a game. It's not exactly a game you can win, but in like the vast majority of the world, when I say I'm going to go out gaming, you think of, you know, in an adult perspective, it's like, oh, he's going to go game, he's going to go gamble, he's going to go exactly gambling. Like the Young Korapon is a game. You put the coins in, because it's not money, you put in coins that you buy with money. You put the coin in, it goes through the system, it pops out something else. You put something in, you get something out of it. Instant gratification. Okay? So the Nian, at the beginning of the game, when you first start playing with the Nyan Korapon and you have nothing, you get that experience boost. Holy shit, guys, I got an experience boost. That's awesome! Right? So then you get a Ryu boost. It's like, oh, awesome, I have a Ryu boost, I'm going to make some money. I get a drop boost. Oh my god, now I can get this purified oil. I've been trying to get this to do this Oda quest. It sucks. You know, at the beginning, the Nian is fun. It is awesome. You get something, right? Right. You know, it's like, oh, I got a skill card set. That's awesome. That is so awesome. You know, it's like I have Water Dragon 6. I remember when I had my skill cards, when I had 4 or 5 of them, I loved them. I cherished them. They were amazing. You know, you get your skill cards. You get your hair tickets. Like, oh my god, I have this new hair ticket. I get this outfit. Oh my god, I can stop wearing this base clothing. This is awesome. You know, I want to look better. You know, and then it's like you get a Vanguard, and it's like, oh my god, I have this power to become a god. And it's so awesome. And then it's very, very, very triggering your, you know, your pleasure centers, you know. It's like, oh my god, everything you get from the Neon is amazing. Exactly, underwear too. Because you start the game in the ugliest underwear possible. This little black paint-on skin. It's gross, and it appears over all of your clothes, especially if you're a female. Especially if you're a female character. If I were to put it on right now, you would notice that, like, my arms up to here would be covered in black, my cleavage would be covered in black, and my midsection would be covered in black. So, those are parts of the character that you would like to see, especially with the growing trend of gentlemen, very cultured individuals playing as hot, attractive women in video games. And it's not an isolated thing. We all know that at least 75% of the females in this game, female avatars, are male. And men is kind of the same way. Because, you know, my philosophy for it is, if I'm playing a game for a long amount of time, and it's in third person, and I have to follow this around all day, it's not going to be a man's ass I'm going to look at. It's going to be a girl's ass. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to pause and just look at myself, I'm going to look at something that captivates me, something that is beautiful. Therefore, you know, as a consequence, or in relation, you will want to make your character look good. Right? So we've all seen the memes, right? Like the little comics where you have a guy buying a shooter game. You have a guy buying a shooter game and you have a guy buying an RPG. They both come out the same day. And the comics go down and down and down. It's showing panel by panel. And it shows the guy on the right, like 4 hours in on each of them. 4 hours in, the guy has beaten the shooter's story, and then he's ready to go play the combat. You know? So that, but on the left side where they're playing the RPG, it's 4 hours go by, and it's like, you know, 4 hours go by, the guy is struggling. Like, in both panels, in both comics, the guy is struggling. He's having a hard time. It's difficult. It's frustrating. He's scratching his head. You see, it doesn't have to be 4 hours, but you see the sun go down, the moon come up, and then the sun come up again when it's finally over. And in the shooter game, you know, the other game, the guy has beaten the story. He's done the campaign. He's relaxed. He's ready to go. In the RPG, especially the JRPG, sorry if I'm getting a little excited, but in the JRPG, this guy finally made his character, made everything perfect, and then sat there for 2 more hours just to put the damn name in. And he's ready to start the game. So that's this difference in mentality. Because when you play an MMO, you don't expect to win. You don't expect to win. When you play a game like Call of Duty or Halo or Gears of War or Mass Effect or anything like that, you get into it. Yes, there's character creation in Mass Effect and stuff nowadays and stuff. Dragon Age 2. But it's not an infinite concept. It's you go in, you make your character, it can take you 4 to 5 days. I mean, Mass Effect and Dragon Age are more RPGs, I would agree. So they're not exactly a core shooter game or whatever. But later on they do have multiplayer in the newer iterations because that's what people like. But generally speaking, you know, you play as Master Chief, you go through the story, you have a great time, you play with your friends, it's great and it's awesome, and you beat the Flood or whatever and it's great. You know. But in an RPG, you know you're going to be playing it for a long, long, long time, especially if it's MMO. So you want yourself to look your best. So, in the case of Onigiri, you start your game, and you do this process with the finite clothing they give you from the base clothes. Now, look around you at your friends that you played this game with now. Unless they're trolling you, nobody, no decent person has, like, the base clothes on. No one wears the basic clothes they started the game with. The thing that took you hours on hours to customize and create to your personal preference isn't like that. Now Suzaku still wears very similar clothing to the start of the game. He did, yeah. Until the dancer outfit came out. And he really liked the dancer outfit, so he put on the dancer outfit. Cluster as well. He wore the same purple outfit for like the first year and a half I knew the guy. And then he started rolling and now he's wearing different clothing. But to each person, they have their own, you know, preferences and stuff. Me, you know, I got my angel outfit in Kyoto. Like, I made my base character perfect and I, like, to my liking. You know, my red eyes, I've never changed them. The eyeshadow, I've never changed it. The blue hair color, modified it slightly. There's a reason the game only gives you a finite number of color palettes at the beginning of the game. And then when you talk to the mirror, it says, oh, for 10,000 coins, you can change your color to any shade of the rainbow that we have available to you. And it's like, oh my god, I am level 5. I have 3,000 Ryu. I can't do this. Okay? So then you go through the game needing money to change your appearance. So, like, at the starting point, it's all about cosmetics. Onigiri is all about cosmetics, because at the beginning of the game, you don't know what they don't tell you what a Magatama is. They tell you it's for defense. They don't tell you what element is. They don't tell you what skill force is. They don't tell you what anything you need in life is. Okay? So we've noticed that. But people will spend to look good. And that's true of every aspect of life. No one's going to go out somewhere important looking like a slob unless that's all they have. And when that's all they have, they look to better themselves in some way, shape, or form to look better, to make the outside feel as good as the inside. So, cosmetically, that's where the game starts. So, and it's fun. It's fun to play dress up, whether you're a boy or a girl or anywhere in between. It's always fun to play dress up because we want to look our best. We have pride, and you have a lot of pride when you're not just shoved into some character's body. This isn't a game where you play as the Oni and you have, you know, the two male and female default avatars. You do not play as the default avatar for a reason. Because you take the character and you make it your own, and you make yourself a... You project your desires onto the avatar, and the avatar becomes what you desire. So, so you want to better yourself. You want to get that Ryu to get the other outfits from the mirror guy. You want to put the money in to look better. You want to look your best. You want to be yourself. And when it's something you create, you give only yourself to blame for any flaws or things you don't like in their design. So, and when you look at all the base stuff you start with, you know, you look at most things and based on your preference, you build what you like. And then the game starts. You get a gacha ticket like 3 hours in the game. Like you beat... I think you get a gacha ticket at Tiamat. Now the game doesn't really... It's like, you got a gacha ticket. And they don't really tell you. It's like, you can spin it in the neon. It's like, what the fuck's that? Right? Like when you start it, it's like, what the fuck's that? So then you go to Izumo. It's still fairly easy. You beat Aramon. You get another gacha ticket. You know? You get to Kyoto. You beat Odin. You get another gacha ticket. You go to Kaga, you beat Nyarlathotep. I don't remember if you get a gacha ticket there or not, but you get one. Someone's here. Who's here? Ushiro. I was like, who the fuck is here? Why is anyone here? No one ever comes here. So yeah. So, you know, usually, in my case, it was by Kyoto... I realized what the gacha tickets did, because I looked around and I was like, that person has a Black Angel outfit. How did they get that? That thing is beautiful. I want it. And I asked them, where did you get that? And they said, I got it in the Neon Korapon. And I said, what's that? And I'm just like, what's that? So I open up my Neon and I go in. And this is before Vanguards were a thing. And it's important it's before Vanguards were a thing. Very important that it's before Vanguards were a thing. So, you go in and it's like, there are 4 angel costumes. There's the average... You know, there's the average... Like, I don't really... There's the green and beige one. That's cool, but I don't really care for it. There's the blue and white angel. The pink... You know, Valentine's Day Cupid angel, and then there's the sexy, elegant, fallen angel, black angel one. And it's like, oh my god, everyone wants that black angel outfit. There's no one that says, man, I don't want that outfit. Like, there's no respecting person who created a female avatar that said, I don't want that outfit. There's no way. There's no way in hell. And I put in my first gacha ticket, and I got the blue angel outfit, which I wore for the longest time. I love that outfit. And I was like, wow, I guess I can't be the bad angel. Guess I'll be the good angel. And I literally said that. And so I wore my blue angel outfit. I loved it. I put the ticket in. I got the thing. I was like, this is awesome. And then I put the other ticket in. I got like a skill card. Okay, I put the other ticket in. I got like a blue. I didn't care. I got what I wanted. And I got this other stuff. And that's how it works. That's how it works. You go for what you want, and then you get the other stuff. And when you get the other stuff, you're like, well, I got the thing I wanted. What's this other stuff, right? And you look at it, and it's like, well, this is an experience boost. This is a drop boost. Well, I mean, these didn't exist back then. But this is a skill card set. I didn't get any Ogis, sadly. I didn't get any Ogis, and I was very resentful of everyone who had Ogis. But, you know, you get the Ogi. You get this. You get that. And it's like, oh. It's like, well, what is this? And you use it. It's like, oh my god, this Ogi is great. And remember this, you're in Kyoto. You've got Thunder Beast. You put Thunder Beast on your twin swords, or you put Thunder Beast on whatever, and you think it's the best shit in the world. You're looking fine in your outfit. You got your Thunder Beast on your Muramasa Twin Blades, and you're going through Seki. You're just beating the shit out of everything. Everything's awesome. You get to Kaga. You hit a wall. You say, wow, I can't just Thunder Beast everything. My weapon isn't cutting it anymore. Why isn't my weapon cutting it anymore? And then you start to look around your avenues, and you're like, oh, well, maybe if I enhance it. So you enhance the weapon. It's like, oh, you could smelt it. Oh, it's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to go get another Muramasa. I'm going to smelt this up because it's got my Thunder Beast on it. And then this process goes until you hit like plus 50 because the game will tell you, oh, you can't smelt your weapon anymore because your Yoshitsune isn't leveled up anymore. She cannot level up. She's not strong enough to do it. You say, oh, right, we have friendships. That's right. So then you're at this Kaga place, and it's like, oh, well, I get lots of friendship items in Secluded Forest. I get lots of friendship items in Momiji Well. And then you start, building that up. And then you get your weapon pretty good, and then you progress. You beat that story, and you move on to the lines. And for a lot of people, the lines were a straight kick in the teeth. It's like, oh my god, why can't I beat this? It's like, oh my god. So then, you go back. And for me, my first real wall was the lines. And I stayed in Kaga, and I leveled up to like high 70s. And then I beat the lines with some friends. Because up until that point, you didn't really have to team up with anyone. You didn't have to. And maybe it was just me. But this is my perspective. It's all I can really talk through. But, I start teaming up with people, and we start beating stuff. And then you learn, it's like, oh, wow, there's power in numbers, So then you go on through, you make friends, normally. And you make alliances. You have allies. You learn who's good, who's bad. And you progress through the game. Then you get to Echigo. And Echigo was the first end game of the game. And at this place, you get to Echigo State and it just fucking kicks your ass. You can't even go to Echigo State. You go to, like, the Aramitama with Susanoo. And this is another wake-up call because in Susanoo's Aramitama, you can't even go there yet. And in case you don't realize, that you need friendships because you can't smelt your weapons, when every other possible, red flag that you need friendships and stuff, triggers, and if you don't notice any of them, the game says you need Susanoo to be level 15. You're like, holy shit, that's a lot. So then you start doing your friendships. And the friendships become the main focal point of the game. Because at this point, it's no longer, okay, I need a new weapon to beat the enemies. I need friendships to beat this damn NPC. And then you go in, and you fight two Beelzebubs, and they kick your ass. You're like, holy shit. And then you start to be like, well, what's wrong? Do I need... And then you start looking at the Magatamas you picked up from quests and on the ground and etc. And it's like, oh, well, maybe skill force is important. And, you start to realize, you start to wake up. Because through the first 90% of the game, you don't even need to be good. Like, you just gotta try. So, and it's fun. The game is fun. You don't care if you die. You don't care about experience. Things are whatever. You go through the game. So, examples aside, the storytelling, you get to Echigo. All that stuff. And then you beat Typhon. You get together. You beat Sato at some point. I needed friends for it. I couldn't do it by myself. People would DC all the time because we didn't know what we were doing. And, etc., etc. And then you finally beat Sato. And it's like, I beat Sato. It's like, go to Kusatsu. Well, I can't go to Kusatsu. It doesn't exist yet. And then we had 6 months of, you can't do that. So for the greater part of the first few months where you can't progress, we're like, well, let's get stronger. Let's go get these weapons to 100. Let's get these new Rose Maiden, lightsaber, all this stuff. Let's go get that stuff. Be as strong as we can be. And, go from there. And it's at that point when you have no other things to fight, you look around yourself. And when you look around yourself, you see other players. And the other players become your new enemies. They also become your allies, but they become your reason of playing. Because somewhere, someone knows what they're doing. And that someone has 4 skill force mags, weapons with proper skills on them. Things are, to the most part, good. And you look to them, it's like, oh my god, they're amazing. I can never be like that. Then you look at them, and you see more and more people become good, and you're like, well, shit, I can be good. I want to be good. Because if you're not good, they won't play with you. And if, you know, they won't play with you, then you just got to keep farming or whatever. Exactly. Either that or rift rat. That's where you make your choice. I mean, we didn't always rift at the beginning. We didn't really have a rift. Everyone just sat around in Echigo. But, you know, that happens. We look at ourselves, it's like, oh, well, let's get stronger. And then, I remember for me, it's like, oh, well, we have this Chiami thing. It's like, oh my god. So I went to, like, I looked it up online, and I learned where to get the orange glass marble. And I made the Chiami, and it was awesome. And it helped me beat things faster. And that's an important thing, is faster. Faster, faster, faster. Okay, no spam, Red. Please stop spamming. Hey, Elaine. So, you know, this trend goes on. I feel like I'm talking a little bit in circles. But, you know, when you hit that wall, which is, okay, the content wall, you can't do anything to beat it. So you do other things. But then, and this goes on. And for me, like, I got to level 100, I got my mags, I got my setup, I had a plus 100 weapon, I was good. We had no update for like 3-4 months, and I had literally quit Onigiri. I said, okay, well, I'm done with this. It's a fun game, I love it. We tried to do Juncture, we could never win. You know, we try all this stuff. And, you know, I quit, I went to go play other games that came out, like Battleborn and Naruto. And then a couple months later, bam, there's an update, and everyone comes back. It's like, oh my god, there's something new. And at that time, a lot of us who had just kept playing to better ourselves thought ourselves OP, thought ourselves really strong, that we could do anything. And we go to Azami Crossing. And, you know, I did Azami Crossing, like, on normal. And it was fine. And then you go in on Hell, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is beating my ass. Oh my god. And then you get to Wara, and Wara's like, Tengu's like, sup bitch, sit down, and I'm gonna beat that ass. Like, literally. Like, oh my god. Like, Wara Bazooka was terrifying. Even for, like, the strongest people. Well, I can't speak for everyone, but for a lot of people, Wara is just like, it flies. What do I do? I can't hit it. We need a bow user. All our bows have no mags because the story doesn't give bows mags. Fuck. And then eventually you beat Tengu. And then you go to Edo. And you get to Edo, and it's like, oh my god, the city's so cool, the music is great, the sky is blue. And then you get to Ginza, and you hate life. Because Ginza is like archers everywhere. Archers everywhere, and they're poison, and things hurt, and there's a giant spider, and it kicks your ass, and you need friends, and it's horrible. Thank God I have friends for it. And then you go to the next place, and it's Hibiya. It's not that bad, but there's a lot of stuff everywhere. And then you get to the next place, and it's like Pipe 3. And it's like, well, Pipe 3 wasn't that bad, but it was still pretty bad. And then you get to the next place, and it's like Pipe 5, and Pipe 5's like, oh my god, this guy just keeps throwing fire at me. His dungeon is long, he stuns me, he has infinite health, it's a blue guy with a lantern, and he's kicking my ass, okay? That one was horrible. And then, after that, you go back to dungeons, you have to fight this big wheel that doesn't even load, and then after all that, you get to Satan. And it's like, oh my god, okay. And when you first get there, it's like, no one's soloing this guy. It doesn't happen. Like, I mean, maybe. I did it with Echigo weapons, and it took me like 22 minutes. But, you know, I didn't go to Satan right away. I knew of this weapon called the Geno Buster, and I made it because it could have Spirit Blast on it. And I did my damn research when, like, the summer before the months that I'd quit. So I learned about all this stuff. And I made my Geno Buster, and I knew that it was good, and it had Slice Element, and the Spirit Blast would just kick ass, and so on and so forth. You know, I became one of the stronger people at Satan at a small period of time. So I was, you know, it was one of the first little walls where it's like, okay, I need to change myself to beat this guy. And I had an easier time to go through it than people that just use their old stuff. So, you know, then you get to Satan, and you beat him, and you move on. But you can't move on because it's Elder after that. You do, and Elder is like scary, he's really hard, but then when you finally beat Elder, it's done. You're now at the next content cap. And you can't go to Oshu, you don't even know what Oshu is. But, and then at that point it's like, okay, we can't progress, so logically we must farm Satan to get the Satan weapons. Well, 1,000 fights later, I never got my cross recipe, and I just ended up making twin and bow cross and going back to that because I wasn't always spear. So then, you know, and it's fun. We had so much fun when everyone came together to do Satan. And then at some point people were like, well, there's these 105 weapons, like the Galardia and the Brigandia and so many things. Like, let's get those and we'll beat Satan faster. And that happened. But we fought Satan so much, it was fun. The fight with Satan is actually a lot of fun. But it's not fighting Satan it's fun. It's the fact that players came together to fight Satan that was fun. And that's the concept of raid bossing. And Satan is like your free sample to raid bossing. And this is something known to many MMOs, which is raid bossing, where there's going to be this huge boss, and it's really awesome if you can solo it, but generally you team up with friends, and you go on this raid, and you fight them up, right? Yeah. So, and this is first raid boss, and you love it. It's like, oh my god, we're coming together, we're fighting him, we're working together, people are using staffs, and we're invigorating, we're curing, we're working as a team. This is awesome, right? And you go through that, and then you work your way through Satan, and you get your stuff, and you're gone. So then you go to Oshu. And then in Oshu, this same mentality of working together works. And people are starting to do Mina Bokyaku together. Back in the day, we had free-for-alls for Mina Bokyaku. And it was fun. It was so fun. It was so fun because we'd go in, someone would have Miyamoto or something because Vanguards came out. And people that knew about Vanguards, they'd roll for Vanguards. You know, like Lyra had Miyamoto. I didn't really know what a Miyamoto was, but he rolled for it, he had it, and he went to town. And then some other people had it, and it was fun. It's like, oh wow, they're really strong. This thing's really awesome. And you start to, you know, go on this big fun adventure, and they're trying to EXP farm, and you're just there having fun getting EXP too. And, you know, eventually you start to notice, wow, that Miyamoto thing is like OP. I want that. I want that a lot. And remember how I said earlier, it's a lot different when it's a lot different that when the Neon Koropon first came out, there was no Vanguard in it, compared to when there are now Vanguards always in it. And how at the beginning, we always, you know, you got your outfit, you got what you wanted, and then you got all this other stuff. It's like, what is this stuff? This is cool. I have an Ogi, this is great. Well, eventually, when the Vanguards come, and you know how important the Vanguards are, you start to be like, well, I want that. And then you've gone from a time when you only had to spend maybe $50 in the game to have a decent kit to I'm spending $200 to $300 for this Vanguard. But you get it. Miyamoto is the only Vanguard in the unit. You get it. It's awesome. Or hopefully you did. Or whatever, you know, to each our own. And you get that Vanguard and you think, oh my god, this is great. I can be a part of the team now. because you notice that you're starting to fall behind the people that have vanguards and you don't. And you want to play with your friends. That's the whole point of a game, is to play with your friends. Now, so then you get your vanguard or whatever, and you work through it. And if you don't, you get discouraged because you're falling behind. But what makes the game fun is, you know, everyone playing together, having a good time, getting better together. So that's pretty much what makes it fun. That's the prime little topic of what we're talking about here, is what makes the game fun. And the game, what makes the game fun is the fact that you're playing with your friends in a game, overcoming obstacles together and growing together, having fun, making memories. It's a very human experience. And nowadays, when you roll, you want that vanguard. When you roll nowadays, it doesn't matter what else you get, unless it's that vanguard. Right? Well, yeah. And when it's not vanguards, it's mounts. And when it's not vanguards or mounts, it's sublimes. And when it's not sublimes, it's vanguard. And when there's 4 things in the platinum unit, it's like, I want this because I need this, but I don't need this because I want this, but I want this because everyone else has it. And you want to be with everyone else. It's an MMO. It's a group game for a reason. So then, you know, that's where people start to get discouraged, when you can't get what you want to better yourself, to be with others, because you see others with it and you feel yourself inadequate. And that's where the not fun comes in. The not fun is when you try your damnedest and your hardest to get something, and it's, you know, doesn't happen. Or it does. But even when you get something that's really awesome and you're doing the best you can, if your friends that you play with can't or don't, you have to take a step back and be like, wow, there's this divide between us. And you notice it. And that happens. And then that's the other aspect which you just brought up now, is weapons. So the only real weapons that mattered in the game were what you had in Echigo, what you had in Edo, because to beat Echigo you needed like weapons from Echigo to beat Echigo. And then to beat Edo, you needed weapons from either Wara Bazooka, really strong Edo weapons, Wara Bazooka weapons, or 105 crafted weapons. To beat Oshu, the 105 weapons from Edo were enough. They were good enough to do it. But if you had a cross weapon from Satan, that was way better. That's what you needed. And, you know, that's how it went. But then, everything after Oshu, which is the moon is literally untouchable without gargoyle weapons. It's, you know, if someone's like, God bless your heart for trying to beat Lacus Mortis with a lightsaber or an Ichimonji Sarai, but you need to get real with yourself and be like, this isn't working. Why are people beating this in, you know, 10-20 minutes and it's taking me half an hour? You know, it happens. So then, it's at this time that it's like, well, I need my gargoyle weapons. These weapons, they're there. The warding is there. It's the new raid boss. It's the new Satan. And it's like, well, I want to get my Garg weapons so I can be strong like everyone else. So then you get the Garg weapons. Well, it's not that easy. Because going content-wise, chronologically, in order to beat the gargoyles, you either need the tenacity of 10 soul legs for every person, and just hopefully you have the right elements and you can beat him and you work together. You know, if you ever work together to beat Satan, you can beat a gargoyle. Absolutely. But on Hell, different story. Even hard was bad for us. And then, you know, in Osha, you get these recipes for these mags. You know, in Mana Byokaku, you get the Thunderquake recipe. You know, you're going to come across these recipes at some point or another. So, it's like, well, maybe our mags that we had before aren't good enough. And it's no longer we need to upgrade our weapon to beat something, but we need to upgrade our mags. And these two things will interchange. They'll happen all the time. So, you then step back from the gargoyles and you say, well, I want to fight this guy with you guys, but I don't want to throw 10 soul eggs at it every time. I don't want to, go through all this crazy stuff. So then it's like, well, in order to beat these guys, we're going to need 105 mags. If everyone has 105s, we can do this. I believe in ourselves, and that's generally the case. And when I tell people how to beat Gargs, like, you need your 105s. I said it millions of times. So then people stop, and you start to look at yourselves, and you start to look at yourself, and every class has something different. Every class needs different things. If you were playing wand, spear, bow, and staff, mags were a hell of a lot harder to get than if you were sword, odachi, axe, and twin. Now, not at first. At first, everyone was up shit creek without a paddle, because everyone had to farm everything. And if you got it in a timely manner, everyone was farming, everything was good, but everyone was on their separate ways. And generally, people started to group up with others in their camp, in their struggle. People that wanted spear mags would farm flies together. When sword people who needed the Amara or the Araya would come too. People would start to joint farm and work together, and this, you team up with those who play the same weapon as you. And then eventually time passes. Some of us get 105, some of us don't. Some of us get Gargs, and then others help people get Gargs. So that's the carries. The carries are like, well, I'll help you get it. And, so on and so forth. So, someone gets the Garg, you see it, it gives you hope. Because it means, well, it's possible. I can do that. And there was always someone with a Garg, and it's like, oh my god, they did it, I can do it. That's the general thing. It happens. So then, you get your Gargs, you get your 105s, and then you go to the moon, and you have your Levin Lance, and you have your Sleet, and you have your Nova, and you're glacial lancing the world, and everything's dying, and you're doing a great time, and you're now overpowered for where you need to be. So yeah, so that happens, right? So you get the Gargs, all that stuff. So you get your Gargs, you can now do everything. What I always said was, if you get your 105s, you get your Gargs, you can do everything. You might not be the fastest, but you can do it. Because it was those same 105s and those same Garg weapons, give or take Dragon Arcs, that we beat Lucifer. We beat Mephistopheles with rhymes and novas and whatever. There hasn't really been a boss that we've not been able to beat with Gargs. It hasn't happened. Like, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any Glaciers, you beat him with a Nova. Like, there's Eldritch, you can beat him with rhymes. Once you hit that 105 Garg threshold, not everything... There's nothing that's going to be a clear wall to you. It doesn't happen. And that's where the game first starts to change. Because when the game changes is when every other point in the game you needed something to beat something. But once you have these skeleton keys called the gargoyle weapons. You can do everything. Nothing stops you. And then the next weapon is Mephistopheles. And the Mephistopheles weapons take like half a year to get. And you get them, and it's, okay, well, this is dark. It lets you beat, like, Kaguya and Lucifer a little bit faster, even though you've already beat them before. It's like, oh, okay, great, awesome. But nothing's ever just been unbeatable. Like, everything's possible. Everything is possible with Gargs and 105s. So then, yeah, Dark is good for Lucifer, Kaguya, and Tiamat. Well, Blitz, Tiamat, yeah, that's a different topic, though. Blitz, I believe you can beat Blitz with Mountain and Dark. But Blitz isn't exactly something that's necessary because currently only two out of the 8 classes really need them. But it certainly is interesting. You know. So then you start, and then this trend happens again where it's like, okay, well, everyone's got Gargs, they've got 105s. What's everyone, and then you start looking at your people around you. Because once you've hit a personal summit, you look around to see where other people are at, to compare yourself to see where you are in relation. It's something we do. And then it's like, whoa, why is this person going faster than me? It's like, oh, they have a Vanguard. Okay. Why? But what this person doesn't. Why are they going faster than me? Why are their times better than mine? It's like, oh, well, they have Fused. What's Fused? Well, Fused is like a 105, but infinitely better, and it has cooldown, so it lets you go faster. It's like, oh, well, oh shit, I want that. I want that too. So then you get the next raid, and the next raid is Kaguya. The first raid was Satan, and you know, you fought Satan, and cross recipes dropped like rarely. Cross recipes would drop as rarely as a seal. Honest to God, that's how it felt. And then, you know, then you get to Kaguya, and then Kaguya is like the same thing, but you have to go through a whole dungeon first. And the dungeon, the weaknesses of things in the dungeon are different than the weaknesses in the thing in the boss room. And it's annoying. So that's why people always ask, like, why is there not, like, 20, 30 people at Palace of Rain when at Satan, everyone was right there? Like, we always wondered this, and it's not the case. Like, it's different. And then it's generally around the moon where it's like, well, this starts to feel like a lot more work than it is fun. Because it's not just the seal, it's the recipe, it's the mags, it's this, it's that. It's like, oh my god. And it goes on and on and on. And then once you get your seals, you get your fuse. It's like, great, what's next? Well, now you get to beat everything again, faster. Awesome. But then you go, yeah, it's the fucking Neo. It's the Neoteros, it's the Nubatamas, it's all of them. The Akatsuki Yamis, the Globes, the Moondews, the Elixir, well, not really Elixir, but the Seal. It's all those things at the same time. And it's annoying. And there have been a lot of people in this game that I've talked to that say, well, I don't need Fuse to beat the game. I'm fine with my 105s. The truth is, they are correct. They are absolutely correct in stating that they do not need Fused. You do not, typically you don't need Fused. You don't. You can beat the game with 105s. It just takes longer. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. There's not many people that say, oh, well, you know, after Gargs, it's like, well, I don't need Dragon Arcs because I have my Gargs. And it's like, well, the only Dragon Arc you need is the Night Sky because it's dark and it's the first and best dark weapon for a long time. Now, what about the people that say they don't need 105s? Well, it just takes them longer. Like, the people, so then what about the people that don't need 105s, right? So it'll take them a lot longer to do stuff. Generally, the people that don't have 105s are people that play a lot less solo than they do in parties. Because when you're in parties and someone knows what they're doing, and someone has fuse, someone has Garg, someone has multiple Garg, someone has really good weapons, but you're friends, you can get through. Now, that's probably one of the most important words in all this, is progress. So, progress, right? What is progress? Is progress beating the story? Or is progress improving yourself? How did they get those Gargs without 105s? How did they get, you know... Well, yeah. But you gotta think about, like... That's this carry culture, where you've been carried your whole time, or you've had someone to lean on and they do everything for you, you know, willingly or not. Or maybe it's just, you just leech onto every single person who will take you, and you get your stuff. Yeah. So then, you know, there becomes these 3 or 4 different groups of people. So you have the elite who farm and know what they're doing. You have the average who are strong, they're great, they work together, but they're not as dedicated as others. And then you have another tier of people who are, you know, they play the game because it's fun. They want stuff, but they're not super, super strong enough, and they tag along with people, they get carried, and they progress at a lower rate, but they're still progressing. So, yeah. Well, yeah, it happens. You can't say it doesn't happen. You can't say it like it doesn't not happen. You know. So then, because you don't need 105s to get through something. If you have enough damn soul eggs and enough damn money, you could do anything. Really. Maybe. Not always. Like, the game's never been a question of, well, after a certain point, the game's never really been a question of, can you do something? Because we all know that we can do something. But what really matters to us is, are we good at doing that thing? You know. Like, I can solo Eldritch Beast. It will take me 7 to 12 minutes to do it. That is, in our minds, ineffective to boost on because it takes too long. But if I go with a friend, it can take me 5 minutes. And it's like, holy shit, I'm going to use my boost on that. You know what I mean? Like, it's never really the question of can or can't you do something. It's how well and effective you can do something. And, you know, it gets fun because when you win, it's fun. So that's part of the addictive version, the addictive reasoning of Onigiri. Because we talk enough about why it's, you know, what we have to do and why it's fun. It's fun because you get stronger, you work with your friends, you be strong to be with your friends, you be strong to be recognized by your community. We're very social creatures. It's why it's fun, because it's very easy to get, it's not very easy to get strong, but it's never, no, you can't get strong. You can always advance. And that's fun. That is totally fun. To better yourself, to be stronger than you were yesterday. Is 8 minutes in Palace good? Yeah. It's fine. As long as you're doing it, it's good. But that's it right there. That's what it is. Is that good? It's not the question, I beat it. It's not the question of, I beat it or didn't beat it. It's the question of how fast you beat it. That's the thing. So then, you know, why is it addictive? We haven't really talked too much about it. But quickly before I jump to that, well, how do people, you know, without 105s beat stuff? Well, if they wait long enough, Ifrit comes out. The horses come out. and they don't care about your mags, they don't care about your gear, you get on that son of a bitch and everything's dying. So it is possible to get through the games without bettering yourself with money through mounts. So then, because before that point, you have the Vanguard. And the Vanguard is a beautiful system. The Vanguard lets you play as something that's awesome and strong, but like I've always said, if you're not strong, your Vanguard's not strong. Your Vanguard's values come from your strongest weapon and your Magatamas. That's it. And how you build them. So, an element and all that. You know what I mean? But if you're in there wearing 4 defense mags and you have Miyamoto, like Bob the Builder over there who's got like 3 Amaras is gonna out DPS you. If you have a bad setup, you have a bad Vanguard. But the mount supersedes this. The mount, for whatever stamina it has, can and will obliterate whatever's in your path. Up until a certain point. A Vanguard alone, or not, well, a Vanguard alone can do anything. A mount alone can only go so far. A mount can beat Mephistopheles. Ifrit can totally shit on Mephistopheles. A mount can beat Satan. A mount can beat Nu. A mount can beat Oshu. A mount can beat the islands. A mount can beat everything. But a mount can't... Well, it can beat every individual thing. A mount cannot beat everything. If you use a mount all the way through Kaguya's home on Hell, you will not beat the boss with that mount. You will not have the stamina for it. So it becomes this point where, okay, I have the mount, the Vanguard, and me. And then it comes to this point of you don't matter. Where you don't matter because all that's going to matter from you is what weapon you're holding, what Vanguard you have, and the mount you have. Because you start the map, you start the game, like, to use a Vanguard, you have to fill up the Vanguard. You have to be good on your own. You have to kill stuff. You have to spend 3 minutes first aiding, or backstepping, or way-ofing, or whatever, to get in that Vanguard. You know, you can't just get on the Vanguard as soon as you get in the meta. It doesn't work. The only time you get to do this is when you fight Lucifer, Mephistopheles, and then Mephistopheles 2. Because you have a story Vanguard, or Valkyrie against the Gargoyles, or whatever. You know, that's the only time that happens. And when that happens, you feel like a god because you're literally cheating and your gauge is always full. It's awesome. That's a mount. That's a mount. As soon as you start Palace of Rain, you get on your mount, you yell, or you kill everything, you walk forward, you get off him, you Vanguard through all of the dungeon, and then you get to the next point, your Vanguard runs out, you get on the mount, you kill everything, you fill up the Vanguard, you walk to Kaguya, you switch to your Vanguard, and you kill the boss. That's the general process of this. That is something you can do. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, as long as you can do that, you could do it. Right? So, what makes it addictive? So we talked about, you know, how you can get good, what makes it fun, and it's fun to win, but it's always funner to win better. What makes it addictive? And I spent 50 minutes just talking about what's fun and how the game works, but we're just going to keep going. So what makes it addictive? What makes it addictive goes back to the aesthetics, to how it started. The game is sexy. The game is not so much graphically beautiful as like a Final Fantasy or Nier or other games like that. The game, because it is at its root fun, people enjoy playing the game. If you don't enjoy the game, it doesn't matter how big your tits are, you're not going to play it. Right? But that's the thing. What makes it addictive is everything else. Sex appeal. It is beauty. It is the weapons. Like I said at the beginning, if you don't have beautiful weapons to aspire for, it helps. Like the Fallen Star, I think it's beautiful. I love it. The Supreme is a different thing. We're going to talk about that later. And the Earth is kind of pretty too. The cross is pretty. The weapon started getting auras. This is awesome, right? There's a reason gargoyle weapons look better than a mass majority of other weapons. There's a reason that weapons that are stronger look better. Because some people don't care about how strong they are because they know they can win. But you start making things that look fresh and you want them, you want them. There are a lot of people out there who will make a weapon just to have it because they want it. It doesn't matter, like, objectively how good it is for their kit. They might want it. You know. And that's a very important avenue as well. A very important avenue as well, Elaine. So, think about this. When we first start the game, you may or may not get an outfit or an underwear or whatever. The angel outfit, it's awesome. I played through the game. I think the angel outfit is amazing. I love that I have it, and some people don't. You feel good about that. If you can get something and someone else doesn't get it, it makes you feel good whether you want to admit it or not. It happens. You take pride in what you get, even though it's all random. Because it's your money. You earned that money and you got it. And that money lets you be better, but it also anchors you. The money will anchor you into the game. It's addictive because, oh, something's really hard. I don't want to do it. No, I'm not happy you couldn't get it. No. Not specifically. It's not specifically, oh, I got this and Joe Bob didn't. It's the fact that you managed to get it. And there are some people out there that don't have it. And it makes you feel special. You know? Like, in the early parts of the game, it's not, oh, I don't want Joe Bob Zimmy level 32 over there to, like, to not get the angel outfit. I don't even know that guy. But you know that he doesn't have it. So you take pride in the fact that you have it. And you like that. And we pay money for that feeling of, hey, I have this thing. I like it. Exactly. Exactly. It all goes down to your look. So, you know, long time ago, when I had my angel outfit, I thought it was amazing. I loved it. And then we get the dragon outfits, and I'm like, oh my god, I want this white dragon outfit. I want to be a dragon. Yes, and I roll, and I get Miyamoto, but as I'm rolling for Miyamoto, I get the dragon outfits. You'll notice this when I roll lately, is I rolled the unit with the succubus outfits, not because I wanted the horses. I wanted this damn outfit. I love this outfit. But a year ago, I loved the angel outfit. I loved the dragon outfit. I mixed them together. I loved that look. Less than that ago, I got the dancer outfit. I started wearing black wings in the dancer outfit. And then I got the Ninetales outfit. And I said, I'm never taking off my dragon wings and my Ninetales. It happened. Exactly. Roll for an outfit, you'll get all the shit you need. Roll for a Vanguard, you'll get every shit you don't need. And then you get the Dragon Auto Marith outfit. It's like, oh my god. So then, all the new outfits, like, fashion is addicting. Fashion is very addicting. Because even if, now, this is not true for everyone, and obviously not everything is true for everyone. I'm speaking entirely on generalizations. But, and my personal experience as well. You like my squirrel outfit? I like my squirrel outfit too, absolutely. That's another good one I wear. But, oh man, I read comments and I lost what I was saying. But no, you get all this stuff. You get this outfit. And I don't know if anyone said your name. But hello nonetheless. I'm glad that 12 people are still here. We can be with the 2D schoolgirl we've always wanted to be. And then there's the schoolgirl outfits. How many people rolled in the end just for the schoolgirl outfits? How many people rolled in the end just for the succubus outfits? The main thing here is, even though you're comfortable with what you wear and it's what you want to wear and you love it, sometimes you see somebody else have something that you don't have and you're like, fuck, that bitch looks nice. I don't want to admit it, but I'm going to get it and look nicer than her. Or him. That's going to happen. So, yeah, that'll happen. So then all the outfits, we love the outfits. It's fun. It's great. It's addictive. Because it's like, well, and then there's some cases, well, I don't want that. I really don't. And then it's like, well, I don't want that. And then it's like, well, this horse just damaged Captain Lucifer. It's like, oh, fuck. Really? I didn't know that. Well, I'm reaching in my wallet here, and it's just like, I got my credit card right here. Bam. You know, sometimes that happens. And then they try for it, and they get, like, 8 outfits, and they get, like, no horses, and you get one of the other horses. Like, fuck, horses suck, and it's depression. And then, and yeah, greens suck. And then it's like, well, Miyamoto's amazing, so the next Vanguard should be awesome too, right? Like Sasuke is going to be great, and Luna's going to be great. And it's like, no, they're not. It's like, what do you mean they're not? But they're platinum. They should be on the same level. It's like, no, they're not. Miyamoto's better. You didn't get it? Sucks to be you. But we're going to give you some fucking hope. Sorry, dry mouth. It's like, I didn't get it, so we're gonna give you some hope. Well, Miyamoto's gonna come back. We don't know when, but she's gonna come back. And when she does, because she'll be there, and you can get her, right? Right. Wrong. She's back, but she's with Azura. She's back, but she's in a bigger Nyan. She's back, but it's in this other thing. And people roll, and they can't get it. It's like, oh, you already have Miyamoto? Well, there's 5 more scrolls you have to get. It's like, oh, well. It's like, well, why do I need it? And you see someone else who has 150 in heart, and it's like, fuck. They're better than me. I want to be better than me. Because that's the number one thing. Who doesn't want to be better than themselves? The goal of training or to improvement is to be better than yourself than you were yesterday or the time before, to constantly improve. So you roll for that. They make you buy it twice. Because that's another thing that we have, is we on console get to look on the future and see things that are always better than what we have. You go watch some of Yume's videos or Onikru's videos or even my videos, and you compare yourself to what you see, and you see damage numbers that are fucking OP, and it's like, oh my god, I want to be that. And then unless you're like super OP and really fast, by the time you get there, they're the next step ahead, and then you got to keep going. And that's the addictive value of comparing yourself to others. So let's count for a second between Miyamoto first coming out and when did Miyamoto come back. How many updates was it? Miyamoto comes out on Oshu. And then you have Sasuke and Luna on the moon. Then after that, it's Venus and Siegfried. All 4 of these Vanguards, including then Yuzuna and Genai, are all worse than Miyamoto. All worse than Miyamoto. So then, after those 2, it's Himiko. Himiko's cool. She's pretty good, but she's not the best. And then, after Himiko, it's Valkyrie and Dark Musashi. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 updates. And then you get the Miyamoto accessories, and it's like, oh my god, the Miyamoto accessories are on Dark Musashi, and they're amazing. I gotta get me some of that. and Valkyrie's amazing. It's like, oh my god, these are great. And then right after that, Miyamoto came back with Azura. And that was a hellish Neon Korobon. Very, very hard. For some people, very easy for some. For me, it was very difficult. Very, very difficult. And for me, I couldn't not get her because in a public eye, I need to be strong because people look up to me. You need to be strong because you don't want to fall behind. So you get Miyamoto. You know, I did it. And then, now, you don't need 150 to be good. You don't need 150. But once you have it, once you have 150, you don't not use it. It's so good you can't not use it. See, once you have it, you can't live without it. It's the same thing as like people live hundreds of thousands of years without internet. Today's day and age, we need internet. There's always going to be something in the world. This is a real world example. There's always going to be something in the world that you think you need to live when a deer will still shit in the woods whether it posts on Instagram or not. Okay? Like, in the 90s, we thought we needed TV. We thought we needed to watch TV. A lot of people in my generation don't watch TV anymore. We watch what we want, when we want, on the computer, streaming, or we play games. So then, you know, back in the day, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, we used to be addicted to TV. And then kids start playing video games, and it's like, oh, they're addicted to video games. Why are video games more addictive than TV? It's the same thing. But the main difference of why video games in their entirety are addictive is because you're doing something. It's because you're doing something. Humans need to do. It's what we do. We need to do things. We need gratification. We need results. We need progress. RPGs do that all the time. Instant gratification. Put money in, get something out of the end. Do a quest, get a reward. How often will you do one of the random ass quests in Oshu that says, go beat like 50 flies and I'll give you like Ryu experience and no money. And no item. No one does that. No one does those damn quests for 10 light stones. No one's gonna do that. You need instant gratification. So early games, early points in the RPG, there's lots of quests. You get mags everywhere. There's so much stuff to do, to get. You get it. It's awesome. And then it starts getting less and less and less and less. Less and less and less. And there's less instant gratification. So then, now you need to do a lot to get something of equal value. Now it's, okay, you want the Fallen Star? Go beat Eldritch 130 times, assuming you get a drop every time. You want a Tempest? Go do it 50 times. Go beat every guy every time. You want a Fuse? Go beat Kaguya 500 times. You know, that's not instant gratification. Why do we do it? Because we don't want to fall behind. We want to stay strong so we play with our friends. So that's why we get up every day, do the work, the chores, the shit that we're supposed to do. Get that out of the way so we can do this. Sometimes we don't. That's when you know it's an addiction, when you put aside things that you have to do what you want to do. That's the clear sign of an addiction. And it's also the sign of a passion as well. But passion, there's a fine line between a passion and an addiction at the same time. Because a passion is something you do, it's like sometimes it's a job or something that is not exactly easy, but you do it because you want to do it. That's a passion. An addiction is basically the same thing, but sometimes it's not because you want to, it's because you feel compelled to. You feel that you can't not do it. So, addiction is when, like I said, it's when you stop doing things. It's when you stop doing things you need to do what you want to do. That's an addiction. Or just irresponsibility. But they're pretty much the same. Sometimes you can't really, you know, it's not really a choice at times. So, you're passionate about being OP schoolgirl, but I'm addicted to cigarettes. What if you're passionately addicted? Well, that means you're having fun and you love having fun, and there's nothing wrong with having fun. But it's basically the question of, it's been 2 years, why are we playing this? Right? And, you know, the game has addictive values. Like I said, the outfits, the wanting to do better than yourself, the wanting to be better than others, the ability that you can see your progress anytime you want. And if someone opens their profile, you can see their progress. Now, have you ever wondered why we feel this unpleasant feeling, or this, I don't really know the word for it, but we feel it when we go to click on someone we're curious about's progress or why they're good. We go to click on someone's profile and it's not open. Why does that have that unique feeling of a mixture of disappointment, disagreement, I would say? A feeling of disagreement when you go to click on someone's profile and you can't see it. Even though you yourself have it open. Some will say, well, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to judge others. So many different arguments for it. But at its basis form, when you have to look at yourself for something you can't really see, it could be frustration. But what I'm going to say is, when someone doesn't have their profile open, you kind of get this feeling of they're not playing the game. Because I've been doing some research on this stuff before I started doing the video. I started looking into this topic called infinite warfare and finite warfare. And there's a guy who does a TED Talk. He talks about it on YouTube. I can find his name after. He compares real-world wars to game theory. And he compares infinite warfare to finite warfare. Now, an MMO, a game like Onigiri, is an infinite warfare. And then games that... This is what I talked about at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the video. Now, there are many reasons for closing it. And this is just something from the perspective of the person looking. At the beginning of this video, I said, you know, people that play the RPG spend way more time, you know, focused on what their character is and aesthetics and all that stuff, right? And then you have the people that play the shooter who in the same time frame have beaten the game. These are two examples of infinite warfare and finite warfare. In finite warfare, in finite battles, you don't care how you look. Your only objective is to win. It is to beat it. It is to win. It is to, you know, do that stuff. In an infinite warfare setting, there is no winning. You don't win. But you don't win. In infinite warfare, and you compare this to the Cold War, you don't win. You, like, I know that I do this. I don't know if everyone else does this, but, and I was trying to get on this earlier when I talked about 105s and how you split up into your groups to farm with people who need the same things as you. It comes to the point where you can't compare yourself to everyone else. You can, but it's like, well, why are they faster than me? It's like, oh, because they have sword. They can lunge step. They can go a lot faster than you. That's why their times are better. But then you have the sword looking at the spear, and it's like, well, why is he doing that so well? It's like, well, their moves have way more skill for us. They are, you know, they can hit Satan with that spirit blast, and it's just not fair. And then you have spears looking at bows, and it's like, damn, they have more range than me. They have way so more range than me. It's like if I was bow, I'd never get hit because they have so much range. And then you have bows that look at swords, and it's like swords have so much attack. If I had that much attack, I'd kill every. This triangle looking at others just keeps going and going and going and going. And then you have staff users. It's like, well, I play staff because it's fun, but if I had the attack of wand and the skills of wand, I'd be so much better. And then you have wands, and it's like, well, if I had the HP of spear, and it goes on and on and on, and it doesn't work. You can't viably compare yourself. Is my mic too loud? Sorry. But you can't viably compare yourself to everyone else. So you start comparing yourselves in your own category. We start to categorize ourselves. If someone's doing better than you, it's, well, they're a higher level. So then you start comparing yourselves in levels. It's like, well, okay, we have the 120 crowd, we have the 125 plus crowd, we have the 128 plus crowd, we have the 115 to 118 crowd, the 119 to 122. You know, it goes on and on and on. Like, if you only have Gargs, you can't compare yourself to someone with Mephi weapons. More or less, you know. Generally, I mean, I'm not going to a specific thing, but like someone with a Nova is not going to compare to someone with an Earth. Someone with an Earth isn't going to compare to someone with a Fallen Star. Someone with a Fallen Star isn't going to compare to someone with a Supreme, and so on and so forth. But basically, we start to compare ourselves with people in our own categories. So you have, and at the beginning of the game, the biggest majority of players, with pretty much everyone else being a minority, was sword users. Sword was the easiest thing. It was the most easy to play thing. Everything was, and by play I mean easy to build. It was easy to be sword. You have Amaras and bargains. You have quests giving you mags, so on and so forth. Like the sword, story-wise, the sword is given so many things. Whereas the twin sword is not, the bow is not, the staff is not, the wand marginally so. And then spear somewhere in the middle, Odachi, axe, you know, everyone's in their own category. But we all really know that sword was given the most advantages, side quest wise, story wise, you know, natural wise. You know, so then you start to compare swords with swords, spears with spears, bows with bows, axes with axes, to each their own. And what does that do? That gives you another reason to play. Your enemy no longer becomes the game. Your enemy becomes other players. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, I'm one of the best spear players in the game. At this point, I'm probably the strongest game on our PS4 console. If you want to go and compare between all the consoles, that's beyond my comprehension, because there's so many different, there's a different content cap between every game, so there's no point really doing that. But no. What's this objection? I'm the best. Okay, well, thank you. So, you know, if we want to just take a second to talk about who's the best objectively in each category, you might even say, well, they're just the best altogether. Well, it's like, now I'm not the only spear, but, you know, spear-wise, okay, let's say Oro's the strongest. Who's the strongest bow user? Who's the strongest sword user? They'll say, Noel's really fucking good. He's probably the best sword user in the game. Who's the strongest Odachi user? Harate is, because no one else is 125. Well, who's the best axe user? I really don't know. Right now, is it Narao? Is it Melody? Is it... Oh my Christ. Oh. You know, who's the best staff user? On one hand, it's like no one cares. Like, I don't want to say that to be mean, but I'm like, who is 125 plus that plays staff, like professionally, like solo staff. Now that's legendary status, but you know, I know you care. Regardless, this game is addictive. You think there's a lot of axes? I don't see axes at all. I don't see axes at all. But, you know. But there's so many different categories. And the main thing I'm getting at here is in Infinite Warfare, you don't win. Your main objective is to outlast your enemy. It's because I always say this, is that the best players are those that don't quit. So if you don't quit and you're the last man standing in your criteria, you are by default currently the best. But in our memories, we remember a lot of the best players. Back in Echigo days, the strongest player was Xylent. Xylent was an axe user. He was building his character in ways none of us knew how, and he was doing like millions of damage when everyone else was doing 100Ks. And a lot of people that played in that era still remember Xylent. It's like, holy fuck. He doesn't hold a candle to anyone right now, but in that time frame, he was the best. And then in the Oshu era, you had Suji. Suji was the fucking best thing in the world. And then he quit as well. So then it goes on and on and on. Spears, it was this three-way thing with Zazmo, me, Goku, so many people. They'd get the new weapons, they'd get the mags, they'd get the new stuff. It went back and forth, back and forth. But now Goku doesn't play, Zazmo doesn't play, and I'm the only real big spear player that still is. So then I've outlasted the others, but I'm still really, really strong, and I've got all my stuff together. So, but you know what I'm saying? It's a battle of outlasting each other. And it's this kind of battle, this kind of infinite warfare that makes it addictive, because you can't win. You're always trying to be better than yourself. It's the reason that people will make more than one rhyme or more than one version of a weapon, because like, well, maybe I can get stronger this time or get better skills or, you know, whatever. And that's the addictive nature. I want to say the addictive nature is that you can fight. You're always fighting against other players, and unless all the other players go away, you can't win. And when you win, if you are the last man standing, the game is over. Isn't this just the meta? Generally, yeah. Everyone plays the game for different reasons, but at a higher tier level, or caliber, whatever you want to call it, meta is pretty much all a lot of people care about. Now, I can only really talk about my perspective, and people have different reasons, obviously. But competitive-wise, there's a reason the game has rankings. There's a reason this game has rankings. Before rankings, no one cared. You'd have to send someone a screenshot of your time to care. Like, you know. And we have profiles so you can look at people and say, oh my god, this guy has 2 Tempest. Oh my god, this guy has 3 Fuse. Oh my god, this guy has an El Sin. Oh my god, this guy has this and that. You know. If you want to just look badass, that's the first thing we talked about was aesthetics. But, sadly, I have to go. This video ran a bit long, an hour and a half. I didn't have time for that, but I'm really glad we talked about it. And I would love to hear your guys' comments after, and we can progress from it. But I do have to go, sadly. But I did have a good time talking with you guys, and I gotta go. So I'll see you later.